Hi guys, it's Alana from Yardables. Today we're going to go over how to grow broccoli microgreens. So who does not love the health benefits of broccoli? Now take what you know about this incredible superfood and multiply it by 40. That is the amount of nutrition you can get by eating broccoli microgreens. Look at these beautiful microgreens that we grew. These ones here are probably about 8 to 10 days old. I can check the date and I'll put that below on when we actually planted these. Today we're going to go over how you can grow your own beautiful tray of microgreens, just like this one. So first we'll go over the seeds. These seeds here that we used are the Calabrese Green Sprouting Organic Broccoli Seeds from True Leaf Market, and I'll put a link below on where you can get your own seeds. True Leaf Market has incredible seeds. The germination rate on these ones are 96%. You want to make sure that when you're growing your microgreens that you're getting the best seeds that you can. So we'll put a link below for these. So when you grow microgreens, many of the benefits that the full-grown plant contains is intensified in these little sprouts. Microgreens are typically consumed when the plant is only 6 to 14 days old, depending on the variety. All the energy and nutrition that has been stored up in the little seeds is released as the seed sprouts and grows. One of the best benefits about eating broccoli, and microgreens in particular, is they're full of sulforaphane. I think that's how you say it. It contains the most sulforaphane in the sprouting and microgreen stages of its life cycle. Why is it important? It can help your body produce its own antioxidants. It can help fight and prevent many diseases that we know well in today's society, such as it helps decrease blood sugar for diabetics, helps ward off and fight cancer cells, benefits your cardiovascular health. It even assists with anti-aging, and who does not want that? If you do more research yourself, you'll find that broccoli has been extensively studied due to its anti-cancer and antioxidant activities. There's lots of research. I have links on the blog with the related posts to this video that you can find out more information on the benefits of broccoli microgreens. So now we're going to go over how to grow broccoli microgreens. Broccoli is a very fast growing, can be harvested in just 7 to 10 days. Being one of the easiest microgreens to grow, it can be sown a little more thickly than other seeds, which equates to larger harvests. These trays here, I'll get about 3 to 4 ounces of microgreens. We'll actually be harvesting this one at the end of the video, so you don't want to miss that. We'll weigh it out and see how much we get out of this tray. I'm loving using these trays for growing microgreens. They're about half the size of the normal 10 by 20s that most people use for growing large trays for commercial harvests. These are perfect for home use, especially if you have a family. So these trays here, here's the trays and what they actually look like. These here I've purchased off Amazon. I'll put a link below. I actually have 2 different types of trays. If you can see, this one here is a darker green and this one's a lighter green. I tend to like this darker green one a little bit better than these ones here. They come in packs of 5 on Amazon. The darker green ones have a little bit more space underneath for water. These ones here, the trays are a bit deeper and there's not quite as much room underneath to add your water, but they actually still work pretty much similar. It's just when you're trying to water them. But look at these roots that are on here. Look at that. So the roots go down into these trays and you water from the bottom and it soaks up the water and you end up with these beautiful microgreens. So I'm going to show you how to plant out a tray of broccoli microgreens. So first you're going to want to start with a clean, sanitized tray. We're going to be doing a video on how we sanitize our trays in the next coming weeks. So we're going to start with this tray and we're going to add about 2 to 3 cups of good dirt or potting soil. You can also use coconut coir. There's more information on the blog on what we use. So we're going to go ahead and fill it with dirt, and then we'll talk about the seeding ratios next. Alright, so I've got some organic potting soil here. So this one here actually contains mycorrhiza also, which is really good for getting your roots going. It's like a bacteria that helps to feed the plants that you find in soil. There's many ways of doing microgreens. You can use like hemp mats, jute mats, coir mats. You can also use coconut coir itself. I like to pick out the big rocks or any chunks that are in there because it prevents the seeds from getting a good hold and sending roots down, so you don't want those in there. So that's about 3 cups of soil. once we get this in here, we want to pat it down really well. Get it nice and flat. So we've got that going. Next we're going to spray the soil, and we want to pre-wet it before we put down our seeds. Alright, so for the next part, I love using just a kitchen type spray bottle. So this is filled with RO water, which is reverse osmosis water from our system here that we have in the house. So you want to find some non-chlorinated water or filtered water to use for your microgreens. It will give them the best chance. So we're going to start by wetting the soil and get it nice and evenly wet. Some people will start out with soil that they've pre-mixed and moistened. Since I only do a couple trays at a time, I like to do it this way so the soil doesn't get wet and sit in a bin until I'm ready to plant again, because weird things start to happen. You want to make sure that your seeds have the best chance of growing without any mold, and we'll talk about ways to prevent that in future videos. Alright, so we've got the soil in there. I'm going to take another tray and I pat it down so we can get nice and flat before we add our seeds. That looks beautiful. Okay, we're going to set this aside. And I'm going to grab our scale. Alright, so there's many ways of doing this. You can actually measure out your seeds. Sometimes I'll just use a measuring cup. Today I'm going to try out, I saw this posted somewhere, a little trick where you can use an old spice jar for the smaller seeds to help spread them. So we're going to put this jar here on our scale. And we're going to turn the scale on and make sure it's tears to 0. We're going to put the mode. We want to measure out our seeds in grams. So this tray that you saw at the beginning of the video was seeded with 15 grams of broccoli seeds. So about 14 to 15 is good for one of these trays. We're in the middle of creating a spreadsheet that will actually auto-calculate the amount of seeds that you need for the trays at your size that you're using. So if you're using 10 by 20, if you're using one of these smaller trays, or if you're using a 5 by 5, it'll automatically calculate the amount of seeds you need for each tray. So we'll let you know when we get that up on the website. So make sure to follow and subscribe because you'll get an email as soon as that's available. So we're going to start and we're going to measure out, oh, talk too much and it turns off, 15 grams. Oh, 16, 17, that's a little bit too much. Let's push them back. 15, perfect. Alright, and so that's the True Leaf green organic seeds from True Leaf Market. Like I said, I'll put a link below for that. Okay, so we're going to put this lid on. Move the scale out of the way. And grab our seeds. Okay, so what you want to do is you want to evenly spread these onto your growing medium. Oh, this works perfect. Look at that. So you just want to make sure it's an even spread so you don't get clumping. You want to make sure you get nice into the edges also, or else you're going to have all your microgreens sitting right in the middle and nothing around the edges. You want to make sure that they're not all on top of each other, so it makes it easier for them to grow. That's why I try to pick out some of the larger chunks in here, because it pushes them aside and then they kind of clump. Oh, beautiful. Look at that. So you can see the seeds are beautifully spaced in the soil. Okay, so the next step, we're going to actually take our spray bottle again with our RO water in it, or filtered water, and I'm going to spray down these seeds again, get them nice and moist. You don't want it sopping wet. Alright, so now I'm going to show you a trick to growing broccoli microgreens. So this is one thing that you may or may not know already. But for broccoli, it's best to have a blackout period for these, and what that means is that you want to mimic the seeds in the soil. So you want to pretend that they're underground in the soil. We're not going to put any soil on top of them. What we're going to do is we're going to take another tray, make sure it's nice and clean and sanitized. We're going to set that right on top of these ones. And the next step, I found these work perfectly. These are just normal bricks that you can pick up at any big box store. So 2 of these fit perfectly in these trays. You want to weigh it down. You want these seeds to get strong. You want them to have to push up like they're pushing out of the ground. So you're going to leave them like this. Set them aside for a couple days. A dark room is good. You don't need it super hot for doing these. About 70-75 degrees is perfect. So we're going to put those in a space where they can start sprouting and growing. We're going to check on them twice a day, and we're going to spray them once or twice a day with the water. So these are 24 hours after seeding. You can barely see some little sprouts coming up. I'm just going to give these a quick mist, and we're going to put the weights back on and leave them for another day, and we'll check on them again tomorrow. Alright, so now it's been about 48 hours since we seeded this tray of broccoli microgreens. You can see how they're starting to sprout. You'll also notice that some of the sprouts look a little bit on the green side. I have left these out on this filming table for the video. Usually I'll put them in a darker spot. The green tray lids don't seem to keep the light out quite as well as you would like them to. So we're going to put the lid back on and the weights, and we're going to let them sit for another day. They're getting close, but not quite ready to have the weights removed. Alright, so we're going to open this up and see what's going on in here. Look at how beautiful those are. They're getting longer. They're all nice and yellow. So what we're going to do next is we're not going to put them under the light quite yet. We're going to put them under a blackout period for another day or so before they go under the light, and that way they'll start stretching up, getting taller, and then we'll put them under the light to green up. So here's a little DIY solution for putting your microgreens in a blackout so that they'll stretch for the light. I set this up, it's actually just some cardboard on both sides and some plastic. So the plastic will fold over the front and make it complete darkness for these guys, and actually the light in here in this room is usually off anyway. So we'll check back on these tomorrow. So these, I just took these out of the dark. Look at how nice they're growing. So this is what happens when you put them in the dark for a couple of days. They stretch and they grow. They're still pretty yellow. It's like some of the ones around the outside might have gotten a little bit of light. They're a little bit green. So we're going to put them under the lights today, and they're going to sit here for another few days until they're ready to harvest. Alright, this is day 4 under the lights, and these are really close. We'll probably be cutting these either today or tomorrow. So to harvest them, I actually have this great knife that I got on Amazon. I'll put a link below for that. It's the perfect size and shape for cutting your microgreens. You can also use scissors, however, I have heard that when you use scissors, and if it's for personal use, it's not that big a deal if you're going to be eating them right away. But scissors will actually crush the stems, and you'll notice as they're sitting in your refrigerator over a couple days that the bottoms will start to brown and get kind of mushy. So using a knife like this cuts clean through them. It doesn't smush the stems, it just cuts them, and they'll last a little bit longer in storage. Alright, so we're going to try to do this here with the camera so you can see. So we're just going to take the knife and we're just going to run it along the edge here. Try not to pull them up and get dirt. This does take some practice for cutting. Alright. Because you don't want to pull them out of the dirt, you'll end up with roots and dirt on them, but look at how beautiful those are. So what we're going to do, we're going to set those, I have my scale over here. We're going to turn this on, and we're going to set this to ounces, because I like measuring my harvest in ounces. So we're going to place those in there. We're just going to keep cutting until we get the whole tray done, and we'll get the grand total for you here shortly. So that's just 15 grams of seeds that were planted in this tray. Alright, so there's 1 ounce. Let's see how nicely that knife, it just glides right through for cutting these guys. Cutting takes some practice. And luckily I haven't cut myself yet cutting these, but I have cut myself when I was cleaning the knife the other day. These knives are sharp, so you do have to be careful. Alright, so we're up to 3.5 ounces. Alright. That's in there. Alright, 4.35, and we've got some stragglers on here we can add to the batch there. Let's get these guys off without pulling them out, because see, when you pull up on them when you're harvesting them, then you end up getting dirt. You do not want the dirt and the roots in your microgreens. You do have to wash these anyway before you eat them. So if they are in there, it will rinse off. You can eat the roots, you just do not want to eat the dirt. Alright, so we have 4.5 ounces. That's a pretty good harvest for one of these small trays. So when you're purchasing microgreens, normally you'll get about 2 ounces in a package. So that's 4 ounces. 2 ounces will last actually quite a while because it's kind of like a little goes a long way. We add these to all kinds of food: burgers, tacos, sandwiches, pitas. We put them in our fried rice and our stir fries. We put them on spaghetti the other night. You can pretty much add these to every meal. Eggs, omelets, like I said, these are so versatile. Gives you extra nutrition. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I have links below of all the products that we used in this video, including the seeds, the knife, the trays. If you have any questions, comments, please leave them below. Make sure to ring that bell and subscribe, because we're going to have a lot more great videos coming out, a lot more products from True Leaf that we're going to be going over. We're going to be growing every kind of variety of microgreen that you can imagine, showing you how to plant them, how to harvest them, and how to eat them. We're going to have recipes as well. So make sure to follow along on our microgreen journey. This is Alana from Yardables. Happy gardening.